Hello, welcome back to Let's Play Pillars of Eternity, where there's a cat walking around in the rain, and apparently not having any problem with this. We are back at Stormwall Gorge, where we were last year on a treasure hunt. Guys, I suppose I could go talk to the dozens and see if they have anything they want me to do. I'm gonna go to fast mode. Now we are looking for the Deerwood Village, which we're probably going to have to exit somewhere north to get to it, but I want to complete finishing around looking at this area. Now, I find it funny that I've locked myself into alliance with the Dozens, who are the very vehement We Hate Animancy group. And yet I'm uncovering this conspiracy that goes back thousands of years that involves discrediting animancy by rigging up horrible disasters related to it. And I am no longer confident that any of the famous disasters which are pointed at as being a horrible, horrible thing and why you people should never research animancy and yada yada yada. I am becoming more and more convinced that those were all manufactured by the Leaden Key. But I'm still allied with the Dozens, who think I'm a decent person. Let me see, where's my reputations? Behold, I have the reputation as a hero with the Knights of the Crucible and the Dozens, both of whom hate each other. Okay, there we go. We've unlocked. There's Twin Elms, Deerford Village. I do like the way that you have to walk to a place in a logical manner before you can have it on your fast travel. Before you can fast travel to it. Melee engagement makes it difficult for characters to move away from defenders in melee. However, several afflictions can break engagement, including prone, stunned, paralyzed, and petrified. Yeah. Travel to Deerford Village. Find someone in town who knows about the ruins. Okay, I'm in fast mode. That's probably not what I want to be in. I want to probably be in not slow mode. I want to be in normal mode because I have not been here before. Deerford Mill, Temple of Bareth, Dracogin Inn, Trigill's Curiery, Dinah's Apothecary, Grieving Mother, Windfirth's Arms and Armory. Okay. What else do we have to do? There's the Long Hunt. On the opposite side is Twin Elms. So it should be on this side somewhere. Let's go up to the church first. How long do we gotta stand out here? Us, we're just minding our own business. Cowled woman. Cooling our heels until Madreth says the job is done. Talk with Madreth. An elf idles by the road, watching the village across the river. He nods as you approach, and the cowled figure standing near him falls silent.
Greetings.
I've heard of you. Word has it you're busy in Defiance Bay. I'm busy too, and eager to finish my business and back to the city. What business is that? Haven't you heard? There's a murderer on the loose, said to have gone mad with grief and strangled a dozen healthy children when her own was hollow-born. He nods at the figures with him. We've come all the way from Defiance Bay to bring her to justice. She's here? She's hiding out in the village. We'd go in after her ourselves, but the problem is she knows our faces. There's no telling what she'd do if she saw us coming, and we'd like to avoid any further unnecessary bloodshed. Her name's Nifri. Nifri. She's an Orlon. We want to get her out of town so that we can deal with her cleanly. She knows we're we're looking for her, but if someone were to convince her that it's safe to leave, she's a mass murderer. Why did the Duke send the Crucible Knights after her? The powers that be want to keep things quiet for obvious reasons. Better not to cause a fuss, and certainly better not to startle her into doing something drastic. I'm not so sure about this. A mad woman like that is everybody's problem, friend. Just keep an eye out. If you come across her, remember what I told you. I promise I'll make it worth your while. What is it? Leave. I shall let you get back to the search. I think there is more to that going on than meets the eye. I do not trust you. Not at all. Some weapon types, such as the S-Stock Mason Stiletto, negate a portion of the enemy's damage reduction. I'm talking a little bit fast on those. I've gotten into the habit of trying to read all the loading screen stuff, haven't I? Oh well.
Out with you! I already told you what... I'm sorry. I thought you were one of those ruffians.
Someone has put this priest to the test, but one not nearly difficult enough by my measure. An amateur's work.
How may I help you?
What happened to you?
I never saw their faces. Strange, hooded men asking about those ruins. Clearban Relag. Most of the brigands who come through here asking about the ruins are looking for a few ancient trinkets. But these people knew the name, and they were in a hurry. They wanted to know where Clearban Relag was. I tried to keep it from them, but I couldn't hold out forever. I don't know what they were up to, but it can't be good.
How much you want to bet, and yes, I did move away from the computer. How much do you want to bet that this is the Leaden Key? There's no bet. The game agrees with me. Aloth looks at you frowning. That does sound like the Leaden Key, doesn't it? Is there something else I can help you with? Can you tell me where to find the ruins?
The Glanfathan tribe that guards the ruins will kill anyone who trespasses there. And they'll retaliate against us, too, if history is any indication. We've had too many fortune seekers stir up trouble of late. If I'm to tell you, I'll need to know your reason for wanting to go.
A dangerous plot is unfolding here. I've got to stop it.
If that's the case, then we may already have trouble headed our way. I'll have to take you at your word. You'll find Clearban Relag here. Whatever trouble you find there, please end it quietly, and try to stay out of the ruins.
I wish I could talk to the Glenfathans. Tell me more about the Deerfoot. Folk here tend to keep to themselves, as they do in most towns this deep in the Deerwood. They're suspicious of travelers, but with all the brigands and refugees moving through the area, who can blame them? It's Temple of Bareth. What can you tell me about Bareth? I've had plenty of encounters with Bareth by this point. Bareth is the most universal of all gods. Why? You notice every one of the priests here says this about their god? It oversees portals and cycles of all kinds, even life and death itself. Under Bareth, an ending is merely a passage to another beginning. Bareth has many representations across time and cultures. Around the Deerwood, you'll commonly see it depicted as the Pallid Knight or the Usher. The Glenfathans, however, know it as Bunin e Anku and Anku e Bunin. Tell me about the Pallid Knight. She's one of the youngest manifestations of Bareth, but a familiar one nonetheless. Stories describe her as a gaunt knight in black armor with black eyes, black hair, and milk-pale skin. She demands an impossible toll from travelers who have tarried too long on her lord's road. Some challenge her only to slay themselves in the process. The Usher? Who is the Usher? Kif have written stories, songs, and poems about the Usher for centuries. Sometimes he's folk, sometimes dwarf, and sometimes merely a walking skeleton. He never speaks, but he guides the way to death and the next life. He also creates the circumstances for the wayward to stumble into their own graves. I've never heard of Bunin e Anku and Anku e Bunin. It means life and death and life, respectively. You see them as two skeletal figures, one male and one female. Explorers have found them carved opposite one another in doorways, but I know of no particular legends that speak of them. Thanks for the information. Of course, Bareth was once more widely worshipped in this area, but it is a silent god. These days, people find themselves in need of clearer answers. Okay, we can travel to there, but let's first take a look at that. Taxes collected, 131 copper pieces lost to bandits. That's less. NPCs with gold nameplates were designed by our backers. Interacting with them will allow you to experience each one's unique history. Okay. Oh, that's nothing new. Okay. So my taxes surpass my my wages. That's good and dandy. Lord Traveler, I only require a moment. Who are you?
Hail and well met.
What are the odds? Stuck in this backwater, I only meet the famed champion of the Defiance Bay. Bareth's wheel brings mercy today indeed. Perhaps you could help. I don't suppose you saw a young elven noblewoman on a road. I'm stuck in this wretched place with the rest of my unit until we find her. I haven't seen anyone like that. Same as everyone else in this blazing village. Perhaps you could go speak with Lord Harand at the inn anyway. He'll be grateful for the assistance. It could be the locals will open up to you about his daughter's disappearance more than they have to us. Huh. Oh, dang, what did you say? Damn Gallowayne for monsters like that, and damn the rest of the gods too. Man paces angrily in front of a wrecked animal pen, his sun-weathered face twisted with ire. Gallowayne's slobbering beast, blazing bloody effigy, thrice damned salty wench and her soggy. What's wrong? That monster stole my pigs, traipsed into the village, tore down my pen, and made off with the whole damned herd. Just left a few little runs. What am I supposed to do with them? What are you talking about? An ogre moved into the area not long ago. Folk had been seeing glimpses and tracks out in the wood, but it seemed to be staying away from town, or so we all thought, until it made off with my pigs. Now everyone's afraid it's going to develop a taste for kith, if it hasn't already. What do you mean to do now? I know it's too late to get my pigs back, but it set my mind at ease to see that thing's head shorn from its neck. In fact, you bring its ugly pate to me, I'll trade you for something that's of less use to a farmer like me than to a rowdy-looking sort like yourself. What do you know about the ogre? I guess they don't have those where you come from, do they? White the winds. It's the same as any other, I'm sure. A big, ugly son of a bitch with a nasty temper and an appetite to match. I guess you wouldn't get this line if you weren't the White the Winds. Trigil could tell you more. He claims to have seen it in the woods. You can find him in his shop right by the broken tower. Been sent to find an Orlan named Nifre. Know where she is? Never heard of her. Okay. Villager. You must have seen something. Then also you've seen a young elven noblewoman around these parts. Sorry, no. But I am going to go talk to this grieving mother that's on the map. I have a feeling this is going to be our missing Orlan. Like Lich, where where she shows up. The woman looks briefly through you as if she doesn't know you're there. Middle-aged peasant woman dressed in brown leather cloth draped down to her knees. Her hands are working at separating stringy colorless vegetables in a pile before her, stripping the heads off of long fibrous stems with a paring knife. She discards the stems one by one, placing the heads of the vegetables into a small cradle-like basket in front of her. She doesn't greet you as you approach. You're not even sure she knows you're there. Excuse me? The woman doesn't respond. She keeps stripping the heads from the vegetables with steady rhythm. She may be deaf. There's no indication she heard you. Study the woman. First glance, she seems nothing more than a middle-aged woman, unremarkable, maybe less stern than most, who seems more focused on the weaving in her lap than her surroundings. Yet you suddenly notice that she's not stripping the vegetables before her any longer. She's weaving, and the vegetable pots are now missing. She still pays you no mind, her brown locks torn and snagged from the lack of washing. Like many of the townsfolk you've seen, there is a strange blur to her. Even the motions of her hands seem to be playing with threads that lack color. It's in a shape that lacks interest. Maybe she's half-minded or deaf, but something feels wrong. As you watch, her knitting takes on an odd cadence. You have a terrible suspicion that something lurks beneath what your eyes are showing you. Her brown hair is focused on the woman. Her brown hair is long, almost impossibly to the length of her hands. As you follow the streams of her locks downwards, the hands become long and black, splitting off into threads of black and silver wrapping around her hands. She is forming a soul cradle with the threads, braiding a net in front of you, each finger long and sharp like a series of knitting needles, almost hypnotic. The silver and black strands of her hair weave together, like with silver predominating as a highlight, the black shadowing it. And suddenly you are calm. You're on a plateau, almost the height of a tower several stories high. The plateau is like a table lying beneath a clear sky, and beneath the plateau, surrounding it in all directions, a forest, hazy with mist, although whether it is an actual mist or distance or recollection. Resting the curve of a natural arch above you is a great copper bell, half again the size of a man, hanging at attention, as if looking down on you and the event unfolding before you. The plateau is soaked in the sun, and the rock beneath you is rough and warm. The sky forms a cradle around you. You feel different, not disembodied, but you feel your body, your physical contours have changed along with the surroundings. And you hear a soft series of chimes like wind chimes. At the sound, the scene gains color and texture, as if the sound is beckoning you gently forth, filling your senses and thoughts like mist roiling softly into a sealed chamber. And the chime coaxes you deeper into the memory, and you're certain it is a memory, a warm one. You are on the stone of the plateau, your knees on the warm texture of the ground, silver, white, shimmering like Adra. The plateau is formed of it. Glistening in the sun, you can feel the heat on your skin, your wrist, and your hands. Your hands are in motion, weaving, not thread, but gathering, tenderly moving along the first movements of Barrow's wheel. Your hands are wet, your hands are upon the flesh of a newborn child, and you can feel the crowning of a tiny head, turning in your grip, its head slick, wet from the womb. The hands you are wearing, inhabiting, have done this many times. They are practiced and confident. You can feel distant pains in your own head as the head emerges, a stream of fluid from the womb, helping the newborn slide forth, and a woman's labored breathing, crying out. Focus on the child, the movement of your hands. As your hands move, you hear the sound of chimes, clear, cutting through the haze of memory. You cannot see where they are coming from, but they are close. They are meant as a comfort, of that you are certain. Draw the child forth. And coaxed by your own hands, every movement causing the chimes to sound again, almost eagerly the child comes forth, and as it does, your hands are in motion, weaving, moving along the length of a soft, wet rope. No, an umbilical cord from the legs of the naked woman before you. You are holding a small child, still wet from the womb, before you. The child cries out, its cry full of life, full of soul, the ringing of chimes echoing in its thoughts, feeling its welcome. The soul is blurred at the edges, as if you are viewing a soul from within a soul, but it is there, it is alive. The one before you is weeping, and at her first cry, her hands reach out for it. Okay, surrender the child. You surrender the child to her, something you have done many times before, and as your hands move, the chimes echo the movement. And you realize the chimes are hanging from cords on your wrists. Where once they echoed a memory, they are now echoing in the child's mind as well. The chimes are intended to welcome the child, to be its first gentle greeting into the world. Soothing sound, guided by the tender motions of your wrists. You are helping to weave its thoughts, its perceptions, the experience. The woman laughs with ragged joy, laughing from a parched throat. Her emotion seems soothed, but the physical demands of labor have left her exhausted. But the child is there. The child is safe. All atop the plateau is peaceful, calm, distant, flattening out as the memory persists. Slowly pull back, retreat from the memory. With effort, the scene bleeds of color, and your mind becomes your own again. There is no pole, no anchor, yet the sound of the chimes remains, as they existed in the memory. They sound here as well. They are hanging from woven braids on the wrists of the woman before you. Even as your head is spinning from the touch of her mind, the sound of the chimes on her wrists is sharp and clear, as if coaxing you back to the real world. The woman still sits before you, but she is nothing like what you first saw. She is wearing black shredded garments that drape over her form like streamers. Her hair is streaks of black and run through with silver. Her age is almost impossible to tell. She simply feels old, like a crumbled watchtower. She lifts her head to face you. You see that her hair is draped across the front of her face like a veil. What you saw of her was a mental glamour of some sort, unconscious. You realize that what you see is not what the world sees. You are perhaps the first to see her true self. Still, you don't sense a threat in the realization. If anything, you feel a sense of relief from the figure. You can hear her thoughts, and she is glad to at last be seen. Who are you?
I am seen, but the eyes of others do not remember. You are the first to see me as I am, the call stripped aside.
Interesting. The call is something that is. It's a. It's something that newborns have. It's a. I don't know if it. I think there's a biological equivalent, but I know it's a superstition as well. There's a light touch on your mind, a caress, and her left hand mirrors the motion of the touch, reaching up to the air between you. You hear the chime on her wrist sound softly. Her hand moves as if pantomime, resting on your cheek at a distance, and she speaks softly and slowly.
Your memories. A cadence of wheels on a caravan track. Fever. Questions by running water. Violence in a night's campfire. Arrows in the dark. And fleeing. Falling rock and cracking stone. And a storm. The storm.
A soul storm.
The storm that brushed you. Did its screaming wake you from your mind's cradle? Your memory of it is painful. Its cry is difficult to ignore. It's like a child. Many children crying out.
I encountered a bivouac, yes, and it did something to me. Her hand withdraws shyly, the chime sounding softly once again. The woman stands, uncertainly, as if she has been sitting for some time, or is too weak to bear her own weight. You notice her cheekbones are tight, her face gaunt, yet while her stance is weak, she seems determined to stand deep.
You are able to see me.
It is almost a question. You suddenly realize she doesn't seem to know what you saw when you looked at her, the image on the plateau. Yet the image was so clear, so sharp, you're surprised she didn't feel you there.
To see me is a rare gift. A watcher's gift.
Could ask about this. Let's see if that. I'm not a cipher, so I can't ask that. Was I helping a woman give birth? I was in your head and hers?
So many questions, thoughts, whirling like storm winds. That storm still roars through you, deep beneath your thoughts, yet muted and secret, like an underground river. I cannot tell if it is carving new channels, or eroding what keeps your true strength buried.
Both have potential good and bad points.
The fact that you could hear it at all, survive it, is something few have ever done. Your power will grow stronger with each soul you touch, as it allowed you to reach out to mine.
There is science, and although it seems to last for but a heartbeat, in your thoughts it stretches out between the two of you like a pull between your minds. You blink. Take a breath, and then you realize she wants to ask you a question. You can't form the words, as if assimilating them is painful, or there is simply not enough. Do you wish to travel with me? You feel a wave of fear, gusted with the strength of relief, although oddly her expression does not change. Then fear dissipates, and you feel strength and certainty, as if a plateau from her memory lies beneath you, and a calm sky looks down upon you. Who are you, grieving mother? You are a cipher. Interesting. We'll take you over
Just say the word.
over Fnord for now. Learn of the grieving mother's past. She doesn't have a thing here. Focus 35. Interesting. I have 1 reputation as being clever, 3 for being honest, 3 for being benevolent, 2 for diplomatic, passionate, and rational each. Very intelligent. Ooh. Lots of interesting things. Talent, draining whip. Okay. What are you using? Light armor. Oh, I wish I still had that cloak. You are not well kept. Well equipped. We may have to go back to where I set things up to give you things. To get stuff for you. Because right now you don't have much. Okay. Well, my timer would have gone off, but I turned it off so it wouldn't interrupt that dialogue. Talk to you later. See you in the next video. And this is the end of the set for tonight. This is enough for the next 2 weeks. So the next time I come back, we're going to be looking for this Orlan madwoman, who I'm sure there's something more to that, and perhaps this nobleman's daughter. And definitely we're going to look at what the Leaden Key is doing, looking into the ruins of this area. Talk to you later.